Are the Jews living in Ethiopia from the 10 lost tribes of Israel? Interestingly, they are not Jews who accepted Judaism just a few decades ago. Rather, their tens of generations have been pure Jews living in Ethiopia for over 2,000 years. But who are they really? And how did they become Jews in the first place in a region where traditional religious beliefs existed? The Ethiopian Jews, called the Beta Israel, already know the answer. However, the question about their ancestry remains. It's unknown whether they are descendants of those who came from the Kingdom of Israel when the Assyrians attacked it, or if they are the result of intermarriage between Jews and African people. So, what's the reality? Welcome to a new episode of Africarized, a channel where we talk about Africa, its history, culture, arts, and civilization. It's a place where you will see the real picture of Black Africa, its stories, and the events defining it. In this episode, we will explain the untold story of who the Ethiopian Jews are, their origin, and whether they have pure Jewish ancestry. Let's get started. For centuries, Ethiopian Jews, also called Beta Israel, lived in the northern highlands of Ethiopia, primarily in the Gondar region. There, their community was spread across small villages, coexisting with neighboring Christian and Muslim populations. Despite their isolation, Beta Israel maintained a distinct Jewish identity with unique religious practices that differed from Rabbinic Judaism, such as the exclusion of the Talmud from their religious texts. This isolation helped preserve many ancient Jewish customs, including those that have changed in other parts of the world. For example, Ethiopian Jews observe the Sabbath, adhere to dietary laws, practice circumcision, and celebrate various Jewish festivals. Though similar to early forms of Judaism, these rituals developed independently, influenced by the Ethiopian environment and cultural interactions with surrounding groups. That's why it's suggested that the Judaism followed by Ethiopian Jews is pure without any changes. But how did people in Ethiopia become Jews? There are various opinions and arguments. One suggests that Beta Israel's history is closely linked to the Kingdom of Aksum, a powerful empire that flourished from the 1st to the 7th century CE in present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. Known as the Kushite Empire, Aksum was a major trade hub connecting the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean. This may have facilitated the introduction of Judaism into the region by Jewish merchants from the Middle East. These merchants could have laid the foundations for what became the Beta Israel community. During the Aksumite period, Ethiopia maintained extensive trade relations with both the Roman and Persian empires, as well as the Arabian Peninsula. Jewish merchants traveled these trade routes, and it's possible that Judaism was introduced to Ethiopia through commercial and cultural interactions with Jewish communities in the Middle East. This may have led to the formation of Beta Israel as local Ethiopian populations adopted Jewish religious practices and developed into a distinct Jewish group.
In addition to Jewish migration, some scholars suggest that Beta Israel's Semitic ancestry may also come from contact with the Sabaeans, the southern Arabian populations. The Sabaeans had a significant presence in Ethiopia during ancient times, and southern Arabian inscriptions have been found in Ethiopia, indicating strong cultural and political ties between the two regions. Genetic evidence of southern Arabian ancestry in Beta Israel adds another layer of complexity to their origins, highlighting the multicultural influences that shaped their community. This theory suggests that the people in Ethiopia were not Jews from the beginning and accepted Judaism when Jewish merchants came. Modern scholars propose that the Jewish community in Ethiopia may have emerged through local conversions or cultural diffusion rather than direct migration. They argue that Judaism might have been introduced through trade or interactions with Jewish communities from the Middle East, and local populations gradually adopted Jewish practices. Genetic studies support this view, showing that while Beta Israel shares some genetic markers with other Jewish populations, they also exhibit distinct characteristics related to Cushitic-speaking groups in Ethiopia. However, some Ethiopian traditions suggest that Beta Israel's presence predates the Aksumite period, possibly descending from ancient Israelites who migrated to Ethiopia during the time of the First Temple or after the Babylonian exile. One widely accepted theory claims that Ethiopian Jews are descendants of the tribe of Dan, one of the lost tribes of Israel. This tradition suggests that members of the tribe migrated to Ethiopia, possibly during the Exodus or after the First Temple's destruction in 586 BCE. This belief holds deep cultural and religious significance for Beta Israel, as it ties their identity to the ancient Israelites and integrates them into the broader Jewish diaspora. Oral traditions passed down through Beta Israel claim that the tribe of Dan journeyed southward from Israel to Ethiopia, where they established a Jewish community that maintained its religious identity despite centuries of geographical isolation. This connection to biblical times is essential to their self-perception as Jews and anchors their identity firmly in ancient Israelite history. Another theory supporting the belief that Ethiopian Jews did not convert is connected with Menelik I, the legendary son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, known as Makeda in Ethiopian tradition. According to this legend, Menelik visited Jerusalem to meet his father and returned to Ethiopia with the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred Jewish artifact. Although this story is not found in the Bible or apocryphal texts, it has been passed down for generations and remains a key part of Ethiopian national identity. Beta Israel's religious practices are distinct from mainstream Judaism. Their form of Judaism developed in isolation over centuries. Unlike Rabbinic Judaism, which places a central focus on the Talmud, Beta Israel's religious life revolves around the Torah, which they study and follow closely. Their interpretations of Jewish law often differ from the rabbinic tradition, reflecting an independent religious evolution. For example, Beta Israel continued to practice animal sacrifices during religious festivals, long after other Jewish communities abandoned such practices. Their spiritual leaders, known as Kisim, play an essential role in guiding religious life, preserving the community's traditions, and ensuring that their faith remains intact. In the 20th century, Beta Israel's Jewish legitimacy became a critical issue as they sought to immigrate to Israel. After years of religious and political debate, Israel officially recognized Beta Israel as legitimate Jews under the law of return in the 1970s, allowing them to immigrate. This recognition led to major migration efforts, most notably Operation Moses in 1984 and Operation Solomon in 1991, during which tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews were airlifted to Israel. Despite the challenges of integration into Israeli society and instances of discrimination, Beta Israel has become part of the global Jewish diaspora. However, questions about their origins persist. Genetic studies show that while they share some genetic markers with other Jewish populations, they have significant ties to local African populations, indicating a complex and multifaceted history. The origins of Beta Israel remain a topic of debate. Are they descendants of the lost tribes of Israel, or are they Africans who adopted Judaism? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel for more videos on Africarized for African history, art, stories, civilization, and its culture. Stay tuned for our next episode.